Hello, Jeffco. This is Shauna Fritzler and Jonna Levine, and we are Support
Support Jeff
Jeffco Kids.
Kids.
It's hard to do on technical. Today we have with us Spencer. So he's one of our Support Jeffco Kids student voice advocates. And Spencer's going to talk to you a little bit about some things that he wrote and being an advocate as a student. Of course, Initiative 271, Fair Tax Colorado, is a huge topic of conversation and something that we're working forward. And Spencer, I've known you since middle school. I'm so impressed with you. You are an amazing student, an amazing person.
Thank
And
you.
so we invited you to do this video with us to talk a little bit about more, what should student advocates do and why is 271 important?
Well, 271 is important because our schools are struggling. We are currently near the bottom in nearly every single category. We're 44th in the math gap and 41st in the student to teacher ratio. We face a budget that has a $3.1 billion reduction in the next couple of years because of the COVID-19 recession. So this is why we need to support Initiative 271, because it adds $2 billion in tax revenue, of which half is earmarked for education.
Wonderful.
Good job.
And Spencer, can you tell us a little bit more about, well, we're grateful that you support it and we're grateful for your help, but can you tell us a little bit more about how students can get involved? Because, you know, a lot of you are very active and very engaged in not only your education, but, you know, I mean, the impacts of the recession to your education. Of course, you are of that grade, as is my daughter, who have had nothing but cuts to your education since you stepped into the schools in kindergarten. Can you tell us more about what you think students should do to be engaged, or how they get their parents involved?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things students can do. First off, if you're 17 now and you'll be 18 by November 3rd, the date of the general election, then you can sign and carry these petitions to get Initiative 271 on the ballot. All we need is, I'm pretty sure, 2% from each state senate district, and then the initiative will be on the ballot in November. So if you're 17 and you'll be 18 by then you can carry and sign these petitions. But even if you're not, there's still ways you can help. You can get your parents involved. You can get your parents to sign and carry these petitions. You can get your parents educated on the issues of Initiative 271.
Fantastic. Of course, we at Support Jeffco Kids have petitions for people to sign out. They just email petition@supportjeffcokids.org, and we're happy to get that taken care of. In fact, Jonna and I will be announcing shortly an event, petition signing event, that we're going to be hosting at my house on Saturday, June 20th. Of course, we have Fair Tax Day this coming Saturday, but on June 20th, we're going to have that as well. So you could advocate for getting your parents to come and get that taken care of. Spencer, tell us a little bit more about what you wrote for us. Of course, this is going to appear here on our website, and I'd love for you to talk about that.
Well, basically, I wrote about why me personally and all my fellow peers should be supporting this initiative. Because it really starts off with why we need the money. Because we're in last in nearly every single we're near last in nearly every single category. We need this funding so our schools can be better. Because studies show that if you have a better education, then you go on to get better paying and better fulfilling jobs.
That's pretty good, and it's huge for your your future that we fund your education appropriately. And Jonna, you might want to talk a little bit about how poorly we funded education in Colorado, and again, some of those numbers, if you don't mind, and if you could also go over the impacts to people on, you know, tax structure with Initiative 271.
Sure, I'll do my best here to try and sound intelligent. One more thing I wanted to add to your list of things that you and your peers can do, Spencer, is because you probably have friends that are older. that are of age, are going to be of age to vote, you might make sure that you talk within your own peer group and make sure you share that information. And one of the things that should matter to students, I would think, like yourself, is that Colorado's already lost a lot of great teachers because of our lack of funding. And as if we're unable to get 271 on or find some other way to do a better job of funding our schools, we're going to lose a whole lot more teachers. And I know that there's a lot of strong personal relationships that develop between students and their teacher. And there's nothing more heartbreaking than to think that lots of teachers are gone and students have lost their mentors, somebody that maybe has helped them even stay excited or enthusiastic about being in school. So that's something that's really important to remember. With regard to 271 and the funding, so our budget stabilization factor is going to be well over $1 billion after this legislative session. They had to increase or dig that deeper hole by over $600 million. And what that means is that lots of school districts, as they try to put together their budgets now, even though they got some federal money, everybody's heard about the CARES dollars, that federal money is intended for specific things and can only be used one time. So that money isn't something that they can use to continue to pay those valuable teachers and all that valuable staff that we want to hold on to. So that's really important. The other thing about 271 is that it provides a tax cut for the first $250,000 of income. That's about 96% of Colorado's taxpayers fall into that category. And especially considering what we're going through with the financial crisis and the economic crisis, there are a lot of people that fall into that category and don't go beyond the 250,000. So what it does is that even if you're a $500,000 earner, the first $250,000 of your income, you're going to get a tax break on. It's going to drop from 4.63 to 4.58. And then you'll pay an additional, on the 250 to 500,000, so that's $250,000 actually that you end up paying, I think 7% on, plus then you've got the tax cut to balance it out. I don't have the tax structure right in front of me, but it goes progressively step by step. But everybody gets a tax cut on that first 250,000. And then, as you mentioned, Spencer, it brings in revenue, much needed revenue for our state, and half of which goes towards education, which is so important right now. Any questions?
I don't think I have any questions about that. Spencer is a student who is very, very engaged and so very grateful for all of the information that you have been sharing with your friends and putting out. And, you know, it's just it's perfect to have another Support Jeffco Kids student so who can join in and advocate for this and share factual information, because you certainly reach a whole other group of people that, you know, we as moms don't. So we definitely need your help. We definitely need your voice as well. And I know when we've talked about budget cuts that are coming, they're very impactful to your education, and you're personally experiencing this. So of course, we're very upset about it. Spencer, I don't know if you want to talk to us a little bit about some of your favorite classes that you've enjoyed. And, you know, certainly we have standards, the Colorado Academic Standards, but the student experience, especially in secondary education, is so valuable to your future as you approach your own graduation in a few years. Would you like to talk about any of your classes that you particularly enjoyed?
Yeah, sure. So I took this one actually just last year, AP Government and Politics. It was a really small class, probably only a couple dozen kids in just one class. But if we keep cutting funding, we might not have the money for certifying the teachers and teaching this. And then I know I don't personally do any music, but I know, at least at my school, a lot of people do. And we already have a very shoddy music budget as it is.
Mhm.
If we take any more cuts, we're going to have to be doing Romeo and Juliet out in the parking lot.
Very, very true. And as you and I both know, so after every performance at our school, the students are standing by the doors asking for donations for just to support the equipment we need to put together. And even though you don't do the music performances, I have seen you at nearly every music and theater performance. So our students at our schools also support their friends in those elective endeavors. So those are huge, huge. Now, Spencer, just how about one final couple statements from you about if you would tell us about Initiative 271 again and what you think should be happening with parents, students, teachers, and community members, and what they should do and how they should get involved.
Well, they should be supporting this measure in whatever way they can, be it carrying petitions, signing petitions, or if you're too young, telling your parents to sign and carry these petitions. And if it gets on the ballot, hopefully when it gets on the ballot, to support it. Because the idea of a progressive tax is nothing new. The idea has been around since Lincoln. It's been in place nationally since 1913 under Wilson. Here in Colorado, we actually had it for 50 years between the 30s and the 80s. It's not even new for our state. We need this so we can get this money for our education, especially in these hard budget times.
Again, I am so very proud of you. You just
Awesome job. Yeah. Awesome job, Spencer, on having your background information. And I just want to throw in real quick, make sure everybody understands, in order to get 271 Fair Tax Colorado on the ballot, that means we have to collect statewide 124,000 signatures, which goes above what the 2% in each Senate district actually is. And we have to have, the campaign needs to have those back by July 25th, so they have an opportunity to validate them before they send them to the Secretary of State's office. And that due date is August 3rd. So we are on a tight time frame.
All right. Well, Spencer, you have gained 2 additional mothers. And we so appreciate you joining us for this video and, of course, your advocacy. We expect to see a whole lot more student voice and encouragement of student participation in not just 271, but all of Jeffco, and we are committed to helping. I think probably what we'll do is try to also set up an email address for you through Support Jeffco Kids, to where other students could email you if you would help us with that and give them ideas and guidance.
All right, yeah, that sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeffco, for listening. Don't forget, it's Fair Tax Colorado. Everybody must join in. We need your help. And look for all those dates and get yourselves, get your parents, and to a signing and take care of those petitions. Carry one. Students, if you're old enough, 18 by November 3rd, sign it and help us by carrying one. Yeah.